Welcome you all to Sadvidya Academy Physics classes by Ganesh Habbar. Today's topic is Class 11 Physics, Chapter number 1, Units and Measurements, Part 3, Errors in Measurement. Before knowing about the types of errors, we have to know what is an error is. So what is an error? It is nothing but the uncertainty in the measurement of any value is called as an error. So what is the meaning of uncertainty? Uncertainty means certain means what? You are very much sure that you will get this particular value of that particular instrument. So if you are not sure, it may be slightly more or slightly less than the actual value, then it is called as uncertain. You are not sure, you cannot predict in prior that whether you will get this particular value or slightly greater or slightly lesser than that particular value. That uncertainty is called as the error in the measurement of any instrument. So what are the types of errors? So there are different types of errors. Mainly there are three types of errors. Which are they? First one is about the systematic errors. Second one is about random errors. And third one is about least count error. So actually this third one, least count error, comes under both the categories of systematic as well as random errors. We shall discuss about that in detail later. So now we shall discuss about what is a systematic error. The name itself suggests it is a systematic error. That means there is an error, we know that, but that error is systematic. That means these are the errors which tend to be in one direction. That means either they are positive errors or they are negative errors. That means if you measure any measurement, either using that measurement in any trial, the value may be greater than the actual value or it may be less than the actual value. So in one trial it is greater, in one more trial it is lesser. It is not possible. If it is getting greater than the previous value, the actual value, you are always getting greater than the actual value. Similarly, if any value is obtained as lesser than the actual value, it is always obtained as lesser than the actual value. Such type of errors which are either always positive or either always negative, such types of errors are called as the systematic errors. So which are the sources, or from where does these systematic errors originate? So these are nothing but the sources of systematic errors. What are the sources of systematic errors? We shall discuss them. So first one is about the instrumental error. So what is an instrumental error? Say for example, instrumental error, it is an error which occurs due to imperfection in the instruments. So or else, say for example, it might not be properly calibrated, so it may be due to calibration errors. So before calculating any value or before measuring any value, every instrument needs to be calibrated properly. Say for example, if in the meter scale, some say it should start from 0, then 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, 0.9, 10, like that. Say for example, this is 0.5. So if it does not start with 0, the first line, let us assume that first line itself starts with 0.1. You are not seeing it, you are directly finding the value from here. That means you will get an error. Always you will get an error. If the starting value itself is from 0.1 instead of 0, then what you will get? You will get 0.1 less always. The reading will be always zero point 0.1 less than the actual value. That is nothing but the calibration. Or say for example, if in any thermometer which is used to find the temperature, it will show 108 degrees Celsius. Say for example, I am telling, at boiling point of water, So actually that should get 100 degrees Celsius at boiling point of water. So but it is getting 108 degrees Celsius. That means that particular thermometer is not calibrated properly. So that causes an error which is due to the error in the instrument. That is why it is called as instrumental error. Next one is the imperfection in experimental techniques and procedures. For that, say for example, if in the thermometer which is used to find fever, how much is the body temperature in Fahrenheit? Say it will read 102, 104 like that. So, but some people have the habit of keeping the thermometer under the armpit under the hand, so below your shoulders. So armpit, that we call it as the armpit. So some people have this habit, but remember, it is not advised to keep the thermometer under the armpit in order to find out the temperature of the body, because it will always give some less temperature when compared to the actual body temperature. In order to find out the temperature of the body, either you have to keep the thermometer below the tongue. Always it is preferred to keep the thermometer below the tongue, beneath the tongue. So next one, that these are all some of the imperfections in the experimental techniques. So and procedures. So there will be some procedures to be followed in order to conduct any experiment or in order to find out any value. So if you are not following that procedures, then that leads to some type of errors. They are called as the errors due to imperfection in the experimental techniques and procedures. Next type of error is personal errors. These are nothing but personal errors means what? These are the errors due to the human being who is performing the experiment. Personal errors in the sense due to the individual, the problem in the individual. He is measuring that instrument, measuring any value using any instrument. He is not using that instrument properly. Then it leads to what? Errors. So that we call it as personal bias. Say personal bias, a person may be having some habit of finding, say for example, this is a meter scale and there are readings here and he's measuring some length like this. So if he's not, say if this is the length, actual length, then if he's not finding, looking at here, actually he has to look from here, right? So but he will be looking from this particular direction in order to find out this reading. So whether he will get the correct answer? No. So it is due to the habit of that person, he will get a wrong answer. That is nothing but that is to some error. That error is called as the personal error. This is also one type of systematic error. Next type of errors is the random errors. So what are random errors? So name itself suggests these are random. These are the errors which occur due to random and unpredictable conditions. These are random with respect to size as well as sign. That means we cannot predict the range of the error, how large you will get the error, or whether it will be less error or the more error. That means negative error or the positive error. That and all you cannot predict. That is, they are unpredictable in with respect to size as well as in sign. So what are the causes for such errors? The causes for or the origin of these random errors are, say for example, unpredictable changes in changes in temperature, pressure, etc. in the surroundings, or in any, if you are performing any experiment using current, then it is an unpredictable increase or decrease in the current, voltage, etc. All these are the causes for the random errors. So we cannot we cannot reduce these random errors. These are unpredictable. So there is no method of reducing the unpredictable or random errors. So next type of error is least count error. So what is meant by least count? Least count means it is the smallest value that can be measured using any measuring instrument is called as its least count. So that means this particular error is originating due to the improper improper choice of the experimental, not the technique, experimental instrument which we are using. Say for example, in order to find out the diameter of a wire, diameter of a thin wire, how to find out? You have done it in the lab. So you are using the screw gauge there, which has a least count of 0.001 centimeter. But if you are, instead of using this, if you are using the normal scale in order to find out the diameter of a very thin wire, then it will not give the proper value. Say for example, in your normal scale, the least count will be 0.1 centimeter, but screw gauge, it will have a least count of 0.001. But in a similar way, vernier calipers, it has a least count of 0.01 centimeter. That means by choosing a proper instrument for that particular measurement, you can reduce the least count errors. There is a possibility to reduce the least count errors by choosing the instrument of measurement properly. So that is a method of reducing the least count errors. So the types of errors are, there are mainly three types of errors. First one is about the systematic error, second one is about random error, and the third one is about least count error. Actually, this least count error comes both under random as well as systematic errors. So up to certain limit it is random, and after that limit it is a systematic error. Which one? Least count error. Least count error comes in both random as well as systematic errors. Next, how to calculate the errors, how much the error is occurred, that we shall discuss in the next part of this particular chapter. Thank you so much.